Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this Managed Taxi Service Tender Opportunity webinar. My name is Gillian Bristow, and I'm the Procurement Officer over here at the Golden Jubilee. And as Fran mentioned, I'm joined by Jennifer Hutchison, who's here to support with any questions you might have as well on this opportunity. So the agenda for today, welcome from the procurement team, which we have basically just done there. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about NHS Golden Jubilee, who we are and where we're based. Also an overview of our current contract situation for the taxi service. I will explain a little bit about the new opportunity that's coming up, the procurement process that's involved as well, and then we'll give a bit of an overview of the SPD document, and I will go through the indicative timelines with you and explain what it is we're looking for in a supplier at the Golden Jubilee, and we'll give you some of our top tips for your bid, and we will welcome any questions and answers as well at the end. Okay. So, NHS Golden Jubilee. So we are one of the 22 health boards that form the NHS in Scotland. Our board consists of the Golden Jubilee University National Hospital, the NHS Scotland Academy, the National Centre for Sustainable Delivery, Golden Jubilee Research Institute, and the Golden Jubilee Conference Hotel. So we have got quite a unique setup where the board is in one location. So we just have the one location in Clydebank, which is West in Bartonshire. And for any that don't know, that's approximately 8 miles west of Glasgow city centre and 5 miles from Glasgow itself. So it's quite close by to the airport as well. So as an overview of our current situation, so we have a current contract in place. This was awarded to a local contractor back in 2021, and we have now reached the end of this agreement term. So the original tender was an open procedure, and unfortunately at the time we didn't have as much interest as we would have liked. So now we are partnering with the Supplier Development Programme, which will help. This will help us reach new suppliers. So that was one of the main reasons why we reached out. As an organisation, we are committed to buying more of our goods and services from local businesses. It's a big focus for us. So we do feel that working with the Supplier Development Programme will help us achieve this. So that is why we are here today, and we've got the amazing support of the programme to help you with your bid and to help us as well to reach more people. So this contract opportunity. So the board requires a reliable service provider to transport passengers, packages and urgent out of hours blood and lab samples, and that will be to and from NHS Golden Jubilee Hospital and Hotel. So the anticipated annual journeys are approximately 2,400, but this is an approximation at the moment. It could be a little more, it could be a little less, but we like to give you an approximate number, which will help with your bid as well. The vicinity areas include, but are not limited to, west and east in Bartonshire and Glasgow, including Glasgow Airport. But pickups and drop-offs could also be out with those areas if required. So it's just to make you aware that it's not necessarily always just those areas. It can fall out of that, that scope as and when required. We do have at the moment a free phone and also a push button located in the premises. So we have one at the moment in the hospital and one in the hotel. And it would be something we would look to add to potentially in some more key areas of the hospital. And this just makes it a lot easier for members of the public to access the service, especially if they have had an operation, or we have an eye centre, they may have struggled with their sight, so it's much easier to have a push button or a free phone easy accessible for them. So that could be something that we'll be looking to add within the contract as well. The contract itself would be for an initial period of 12 months with 2 optional extension periods of 12 months. So essentially that means it could be up to 3 years, but it would just be the initial 12 months, and then we would look to extend in each 12-month segments. The contract we're planning to award to a single supplier. So it's really important. Availability, punctuality and reliability of the services are really essential for us and for this contract. Now, the procurement process itself will be in 2 stages. So the Scottish Crime and Drug Enforcement Agency has identified a number of business sectors, which have a high risk of infiltration by serious and organised crime groups. And taxi and private hire services is one of these sectors. So with that in mind, that's why we have a 2-stage process. So this will be a restricted procedure. And the 2 stages will consist of the single procurement document, which is a questionnaire essentially that allows us to identify suitably qualified suppliers. And in line with our serious and organised crime protocol, this includes a self-declaration of non-involvement from suppliers. Details of this will then be shared with Police Scotland to undertake a vetting process for us. So this stage is really important, and there's quite a lot of questions, but the Supplier Development Programme are here to help guide you through that as well. Stage 2, so suppliers who are successful in stage 1 will then be invited to tender in stage 2. So the ITT, we call it, these documents contain detailed information on the board's requirements, and this will include a specification document. This will include mandatory requirements, scoring methodology will be ironed out, and the evaluation criteria as well. We will have a number of quality questions, a commercial submission, and we will also outline all of our terms and conditions for the contract as well. So I'll go into a little bit more detail now about the single procurement document, because I know that is maybe something that people are less familiar with. So as an overview, the SPD document is formed in 3 parts. So it's a number of questions, and they are in 3 different parts. So the first part is the bidder information. So this section will ask you for information about your organisation. Then we have exclusion questions. So these questions ask about any criminal convictions or any other activity that could exclude you potentially from the process. And these questions are assessed on a pass-fail basis. The selection questions will focus on topics such as the technical and professional ability, and any financial information as well that we require. And the outcome of this, so after the vetting and the scoring, any bidders who score at least 80% will then go through to the next stage, which is the ITT stage, invitation to tender. So I've put together an indicative timeline just to give you an idea of the timescale we are looking at here. This could be subject to change, but this is the plan at the moment. So We plan to publish the SPD document on PCS, which Public Contract Scotland, this week. So that would be on the 3rd of September. This goes out for 30 calendar days. So the closing date for this would be the 3rd of November 2025. Once everything is, once all the bids are come through for the SPD, we will then conduct an evaluation. And so we'll be doing that internally, and then we also send out to Police Scotland as well at this point. So we say allow approximately 3 weeks for this process, but it could be more depending how many bids we receive. And we're also reliant on Police Scotland as well. So it could be a little bit longer. So that's why it's just an indication at the moment. But we will keep you updated if that moves out. So then we would plan to publish the ITT documents and invite successful suppliers to bid. And that plan is to go out on the 24th of November of this year. And again, that would be out for another 30 days. So it's 30 calendar days, not working days. So the ITT closing date would then fall at the 24th of December, so Christmas time. So again, this is just approximate timings, because obviously the festive season is going to be quite busy for people. So at the moment, that is the plan. It would close on the 24th. We would then conduct our evaluation. And again, we just ask if you could allow 3 weeks for that. That's what the plan for that would be just now. Obviously, with the festive season to take into account as well. So we are estimating 3 weeks for that. Once we've conducted our evaluation and we have our preferred supplier, we will then send out the 10-day standstill letters to everybody to inform you. And so this will go out on the 19th of January. And then it's again 10 calendar days. So on the 11th day, that is when we would award the contract to the winning supplier. And this is planned to go out on the 29th of January 2026. So as I said, the dates could potentially move, but we will keep you updated as much as possible throughout the process. In terms of what we are looking for from a supplier, just outline some key things here for you to take note of. So ultimately, we want to find a suitably qualified supplier with relevant experience for the contract. We're looking for financial stability from the supplier. We would require compliance with all laws, regulations, and quality standards. So, for example, this could include the PVG checks for drivers, and also level 1 child protection awareness training for all drivers. The supplier would need to have the capacity to meet the requirements of the board, and have an understanding that the contracted work must be prioritised and delivered in a timely fashion. So we do have some very urgent lab samples, as mentioned before. So it is really important to us that the contract is prioritised. There must be a clear contingency and resilience plan in place. And ultimately, we are looking for value for money from our supply base. Ultimately, we serve the public, so we have to protect public funds. So that's a key requirement for public sector procurement, is to look for value for money. And we'll also be looking to make sure that the payment of Scottish living wage is being paid to all staff, so including holiday pay and subsequent increases involved. So top tips for success. So making sure that you are registered on Public Contract Scotland, first of all, is really important because that's where everything will take place. You could register your interest on the prior information notice, which is live now, just so you can get your interest noted in there and be updated on anything to do with the contract. On PCS, there is a question and answers function, so it's really important that you use that function to ask any questions you might have along the way. Any questions that come through on the portal will be sent to all suppliers who have noted an interest in the contract, so you'll see the answers to all questions that are being asked. Definitely allow plenty of time for your application as well. So just keep in mind the deadlines. We won't be able to accept bids outside the deadlines, so please be aware of that and allow yourself plenty of time. Make sure you have included all the attachments that have been asked of you within the bid. Always seek advice from the Supplier Development Programme. They're a fantastic resource and they're there to help and guide you through. And respond promptly to any messages that come through on Public Contract Scotland as well. So for further support, as mentioned already, we do have the second training session scheduled with Supplier Development Programme. And that will just provide a lot more support with using PCS to bid on the contract. So that's planned to take place on the 9th of October at 5 p.m. So I've popped the link on here as well, but you'll get all that information from the Supplier Development Programme as well. And that is it. So I hope that has been helpful. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask away.